What up, world? It's Strix. Today's is gonna be a quick one. Where I was yesterday, shut up a different angle. But I was in the gym last night and I had the idea for today's video because I've been doing planks again, which is like, it's the best exercise because I feel like no matter how good you get at it, you can always just like make it more difficult on yourself because you can just go for longer. And so I'm trying to get up to like 4 or 5 minutes eventually on this like time of me working out. And I realized this like cool concept that I like tell myself a lot, not just even in the gym, but just in life in general. But in the gym, I needed it yesterday because I was trying to do like a minute and a half, or like, yeah, I was trying to do a minute and a half. And I realized I was about to like quit and give up. And planks, I don't know if you know, it's like you like hold this position, and it's just about staying the same position the whole time. And anyway, I was holding it, and I was about to give up because I was like, bro, this shit sucks. And then I told myself something that like I'll come to sometimes when I'm working out, where it's like, bro, you did all the work to like come to the gym, and like you go throughout your whole day just to get to this one moment, and you can't just give 30 seconds of yourself to this moment. Like you can't not quit for 30 seconds. Like you already, basically this whole moment your whole day is built up to this moment of you being able to get here to do this thing, and now you're just gonna quit. It's like, bro, you already did the work. You already showed up. And so that's what I'll tell myself in my head. But I think it's a cool concept that applies to a lot of like what I'll do in general. That like, it's a cool like, it's just a cool idea I can come back to when things are just like, when I don't feel like doing them or when things get tough. These videos are a great example. Like I tell myself a lot where it's like, bro, you've already done the hard work. You've already gone and lived and experienced the stories. You've already learned how to use a camera. You've already bought a camera. You've already, like, there's so much shit that stacks into doing anything. And the more I realize that, and the more I can lean into that idea of like the hard work is already done. The hard work is typically like, the hard part is behind you. The hard part's showing up. And then once you're there, you just gotta remember, that feeling. And then be consistent. I was on the phone today with somebody I'd never talked to, one of Finn's homies. And he just said like we had the same energy, we should chop it up. So we were on the phone today chopping it up, and one of the concepts was just that consistency aspect. And then I was talking to somebody else later, and the consistency aspect came up in like the gym, and like there were just two different worlds and two different ideas of why consistency is so important. But I come back to this thought all the time of like, bro, you already did the hard work. You already had, like, when I first started rapping, it's like, bro, you know how much fucking shit I had to go through to like get to the point where I could even record at a studio, to then once you record at the studio to realize how bad I was. And then once I realized how bad I was, oh, it's gonna be so much work to like get even like half decent at doing this thing. And then like once I got to the point where I was like any good, it was like, all right, now it's gonna be so much work to like make these songs. And then once I made all those songs, it was like, oh, now it's gonna be so much work to like show people these songs in high school. And then it was like, all right, I show people them, they like them. Now it's gonna be so much work to like go and like, you know, sell tickets to a show. And like, I remember, that's a good story actually. I remember in high school when I dropped music for the first time, I'd always in high school, like the first 4 years, since middle school I'd been rapping, and I knew I wanted to make music for pretty much the rest of my life. I was like, that's what I'm doing. So for like 4 or 5 years I was working at this, and like people kind of knew, people like knowing I would rap, like we go to parties or some shit and I'd freestyle or whatever, but like I never dropped anything. So I'd never really put it out there. And all this whole time I was going through all these steps that I was just describing of like really just honing in all of these ways to be able to show up and do the thing. And eventually I got to the point where I'm like, I think this is good enough, and I put it out. and it was like I made a mixtape called Artesia, and we put it out. And then that week I was like, I'm gonna have a show at the end of this week and just like invite the whole school. And so I did that, and the next day I went in and like to sell the tickets, and like it was like crazy moment. We were just like in the hallways, like everyone was buying tickets, like it was in the middle of like break, and just like so many people. We were selling them for like I think $10. It was crazy. We sold like, I think I sold like 120 tickets or some shit in like this 10-minute break we have. The principal came out and like made me stop. It was like a whole thing. And I remember like I had like 2 folders. My friends went and grabbed staplers. We like stapled 2 folders together, and like we're just stuffing cash in a folder. And I just remembered being like, I remember like looking at the folder and being like, I just made more money than I've ever made doing anything for the most part. And like, it was off like rap. And I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. And I left school. And I remember the security guard like stopped me because you can't leave school or whatever. And he was like, you can't, I was always skipping school to be honest, but he was like, nah, like you can't leave today. And in my mind, I'm like, I was just an asshole. I was like, I just made more money than this guy makes like all month or all week. And like, he's yelling at me, and I was so like, I was just on cloud 9. I was so frustrated back then, especially. So I was just like so hyped. But it's like, bro, all that even is still the hard part. Even when it feels like, oh, it's working, it's still the hard part to get me to the point where it's like, I understand the concept of selling tickets in general. What up? Hi. What up, yeah? We have a random guest today, apparently. Hello. Let's go. Hi. That was fire. Make sure it's still focused. Can y'all see me still? Hopefully that was fire. What was I on about? Yeah, I mean, it just keeps stacking and there's this concept of consistency and being present. And I think both of those are really supported by this idea that you've already done the hard work. It's like, bro, the hard work wasn't even that like, it was unenjoyable. Like, me selling those tickets in the hallway was one of my favorite like memories, even to this day. It's like I think of that moment where I felt like for years and years I knew I was gonna do this, and this was like a first like real example of like, no, this is gonna work, because I had for the first time turned this idea into money, and I was like, this can work. And it was like that first real world example. But even that was stacking to just get me to the point where when we were about to go on tour, it's like, yo, you already did the hard work. You know how to sell tickets, or you know what comes with all this. You know, you're gonna have to announce it and put it out and change. And shit changes, bro. It's not like I just drop some shit now and I go to the hallway and sell 100 tickets. But it's also a good reminder even like of momentum. It's like, bro, it was actually easier for me to sell tickets in high school than it is like after years and years of like building this up, because then now it's like, yo, it was easier to sell it in that spot because that's where I was every day. And it made me realize like, oh, you have to go build that system outside of that. So like if I want to go to Amsterdam and sell tickets, it's way different. Like I've never been there. So you got to build a whole new thing. So a lot of times it's actually really easy where you're at. And anyway, to connect it all, I think the main thing I realized, and the thing I come back to, and the thing I tell myself all the time in the gym is like, bro, you live your whole life and you kind of get lost in this idea of not being present and working towards something that's going to be in the future, and you work on it, and then you arrive and you're in the present, and all you got to do is show up, and you have to crush. That's it. You're here. You just got to break through that fucking wall. And it makes breaking through that wall easy, and it makes it obvious that there's no other option. It's like, you're already here. What else are you gonna do? You're gonna not do it? Like, why? Why would you not do it? You already did all the shit. And it's just this thing I tell myself again and again. So, like always, I had another thought with all that. That's something with these videos, man. I be getting like, I'll have the idea and I was scootering over here thinking it through, and I had a really cool one where it connect. I never know where these are gonna go when I get on these tangents. But I'm glad I get to tell some of these stories now. When I'm rambling, they'll come to me more and more. All right, fuck it. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow.